It is a dark age, a bloody age of strife and war, of chaos and sorcery. Yet it is a time too of mighty heroes and bold deeds. It is the year 2276, and the dreaded Prince Tolithor of Khemri leaves waves of undead warriors north through the border princes to overwhelm the richer provinces beyond. But Duke Gasteel, the Red Hand of Brionne, has mustered an army from the Kingdom of Bretonnia to meet the vile undead head-on. The two forces now meet upon the plains of Matoria to do battle to the death. Only one side can be victorious. Find out who on Battle Report. Welcome one and all to the world of legend for another great episode of Battle Report. My name's Nick.
And I'm Si, and in this episode we're playing Warhammer the Old World for the first time on the show. Now, being long in the tooth, Nick and I have played many a game set in the Old World over the years, so we're super excited to battle it out there once more.
You're not wrong there, sir. As Simon is honourable and chivalrous to the last, he's taken control of the army of the Kingdoms of Bretonnia.
While Nick, being evil to his core and almost certainly a lot more ancient than he looks, he's controlling the vile Tomb Kings of Khemri invading the lands of the living.
We're playing a pitch battle, and we've chosen the meeting engagement scenario. Our armies have come across each other almost by surprise, where the outcome could be decided by the arrival of timely reinforcements.
Before deployment, we'll roll a dice for each unit we have, and on the roll of a 1, that unit is lagging behind the rest of the column when we arrive later in the battle.
Our aim is to score victory points, with the player scoring the most winning the game. We can score victory points for killing enemy models or making them run away, killing enemy characters and capturing their standards. That's it, nice and simple.
With that said, it's time to lower the visor, level the lance, and charge headlong into battle. Sallying forth from the fair kingdom of Bretonnia rides the knightly host of Brionne. In the lady's name, sound the charge! Duke Gasteel, the Red Hand of Brionne, leads his army south to Matoria to rid the lands of the foul undead. A noble hero indeed, he rides atop his resplendent royal Pegasus, leading the charge into the enemy at full tilt. Trained from a young age to serve the armies of their duke, Bretonnian men-at-arms and peasant bowmen make up the ranks of the army of Brionne, eager to serve their noble master on the battlefield. The pride of the armies of Bretonnia, mounted knights of the realm, have undertaken great deeds to earn their station. Charging forth on thunderous war horses, their bravery, honour and virtue know no bounds. Hailing from around the mountainous borders of Bretonnia, Pegasus knights such as these are rare, for a battle-trained Pegasus is difficult to capture and harder yet to train. As the battle begins, Duke Gasteel will command his whole army to pray for the blessings of the lady. The enemy may gain the initiative, but if the lady is with me, I'll be more than compensated by her divine protection. The class structure in Bretonnia separates the nobility of the knights from the commoners of the peasantry. It is expected for the peasants to flee, as they do not have the knightly virtues of their masters. It is so expected, in fact, that knights tend to ignore the common troops fleeing on the battlefield. Trained to fight from a young age from horseback, Bretonnian knights make unique use of the lance formation, enabling them to charge deep into the enemy lines, causing much destruction as they tear through them at full gallop.
The Tomb Kings of Khemri march forward to reclaim their rightful dominion over the kingdoms of the living, and woe betide any who stand in their way. Army General Tomb Prince Tolithor the Radiant has led his force up the Zandri road to the border princes to claim this land for Nehekara. Such is his dominance of his legions that his will be done no matter what. High Priest Nephekar is the hierophant of Tolithor's force, holding the secrets to unlife and recanting the rituals to keep the army together. He rides a powerful Necrolith bone dragon, the reanimated skeletal remains of a once great drake. The mighty armies of Nehekara are made up of regiment after regiment of valiant warriors and archers who have all sworn oaths in life to serve their monarchs in death. When the Leech Priests summon the legions of Nehekara, fully formed cavalry columns stride out of ancient pyramids, armed with spears to ride the foe down or warbows to strike them from afar. The pride of Nehekara's armies are their chariots, created by skilled artisans, gilden and lacquered and ready for war. Crashing into the enemy ranks with unnatural ferocity, few can withstand their charge. The Nehekaran undead walk the plains of the living, an emotionless, fearless legion. They know not fear, panic or terror, but instead cause it in their foes. Never breaking from combat, their warriors instead crumble to dust rather than desert their monarch. Such is the magical hold over their warriors, the leaders of the Nehekaran army can resurrect fallen warriors, their bones reforming to fight once more. High Priest Nephekar has awakened this army and is the hierophant of the Force. While he lives, his magic animates the undead warriors, but should he be slain, they will begin to crumble back to the dust from whence they came. It was time to roll for my Hierophant spells. He's a level 3 wizard, so gets 3 spells. From the Lore of Necromancy, I've got Spirit Leech and Unquiet Spirit, both great spells. And from the Lore of Nehekara, I've got Jaf's Incantation of Cursed Blades.
I won the roll-off for deployment, so I chose for Nick to deploy the first unit. We then began alternating one unit at a time until all our units were on the table, with the exception of any units that arrived as reserves as a result of the mission rule. Now, Nick had a unit of skeleton archers that wouldn't be arriving on the board initially, and I unfortunately rolled up a unit of Knights of the Realm to arrive in my reserves, so I'd be fighting with one hand behind my back at the start of the game.
Once all the miniatures had been deployed, it was time to deploy scouts. That's my skeleton horse archers, and they can be deployed any way they like on the battlefield, so I chose them to go right here behind these trees. My skeleton horsemen are vanguards, so they can make a move before the game begins, so 8 inches straight forwards. We're all deployed, it's time to roll to see who takes the first turn.
No need, because I am going to pray to the Lady of Britonia for her blessing, so yeah, you get the first turn automatically.
Let's go, man, let's have a great game.
Do it, man.
So the command subphase, Prince Tolathor the Radiant is going to have his will be done. Here it goes, leadership test for him. That is passed, and I'm going to give the unit forwards to glory. They're going to gain D3 movement, which is useful for skeletons. They're going to go an extra 2 inches. In the conjuration subphase, Nehekara the Hierophant is going to try and cast Jaf's Incantation of Cursed Blades upon himself. Here it goes. I've only rolled a 4, but he's a level 3 wizard, so that becomes a 7, and so therefore the spell is cast.
Curses. Well, I shall try and dispel that with my Fated Dispel. I've got no wizards, but I can do that once per round, so let's do it.
Oh no!
Curses.
The dispel has failed, the spell has worked.
Yeah.
In the movement phase, the Tomb King's army moved relentlessly towards the Bretonnians. They're undead, so they can't march, but they're going as fast as they can. I've got a few units that can shoot as well, so onto the shooting phase. I'm going to start off with these horse archers over here, who are going to let their bows off at these men-at-arms, maybe cause a panic test early in the game. Now there's 8 of them shooting. Safta the Swift is a champion, so I'll roll for him separately. Now they have the arrows of a Saf, so they always hit on a 5+, whereas Safta hits on a 4. So here are the standard archers. I've managed to hit 4 times.
Nice.
How about the champion? He hits as well.
Wow.
What heroes. The bows are strength 3, your toughness 3, so it's force to wound those men-at-arms. And I've got 3 of them.
So I've got light armour and shields, which gives me a save of 5+. Let's do this. Just one. So 2 peasants have been killed, but I can assure you, none of my knights actually care.
With 2 models slain, that's not quite enough to cause a panic test yet. Then the skeleton archers opened fire at the Bretonnian Knights of the Realm. Luckily, the lady was with them, and the blessing saved one of them from death. The charioteers opened up at the peasant bowmen and managed to take one of the peasants down. So at the end of the shooting phase, my skeleton horse archers have the reserve move rule, so they can make a free cheeky move right now and just move behind the house over here, well out of line of sight of your horrible Pegasus Knights.
Oh, no fun.
Hey, that's the Tomb King's done, so it's over to your turn.
Time to ride you down. With nothing to do in the strategy phase, I move straight onto the movement phase and declare charges. Now, I've got a couple of glorious charges to announce. First of all, I'm going to lead the charge with Duke Gasteel of Brion himself straight into, cunningly here, your archers. I want to crush your flank rather than straight into warriors there.
Not towards my general.
I have a cunning
Cowardice,
plan.
Simon.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Well, the archers are going to stand and shoot at the general as he comes in.
My Knights of the Realm are going to follow up that charge and crush you utterly if all goes well, and you can't declare a stand and shoot reaction
No, I
against
have
them.
to stand against those guys. Well, I'm going to lower my bows at the general as he comes inside. Face some shots. Here it goes.
Nice. As Duke Gasteel charged in, his Royal Pegasus battered aside the flight of arrows hurtling in his direction, and he crashed into the skeleton archers. Duke Gasteel didn't need to take a fear test to charge the skeleton archers because he's taken the Grail Vow, rendering him immune to such things as psychology. Now, the Knights of the Realm did pass their fear test, enabling them to charge in alongside their lord. Those skeleton archers were in for a world of pain. With my charges done, it was on to my remaining moves. Now, my men-at-arms on my left flank marched full speed, moving round to take on the centre and Nick's advancing troops. Now, on my right flank, my men-at-arms were a little bit cagier, moved forward slowly, hoping to lure Nick's skeleton horsemen into a reckless charge. Onto the shooting phase, my peasant bowmen took aim with their burning arrows at the skeleton chariots bearing down on them. Now, their combination of vantage point for being on a hill and their ability to volley fire with longbows meant that they would be firing a heck of a lot of shots at those skeleton chariots. And I got another shot from Guillaume de Veneer, who actually hits on a 4, 5, or 6, even at long range, because he's awesome.
What a hero. Oh, he's missed though.
He's let me down after the hyping him up like that. Right, my longbows are strength 3, your chariots are toughness 4, so I need a 5 or 6 to win it. Oh, that's not bad.
That's not bad at all, Si. 3 wounds.
Not only that, but they have Armor Bane. So if I get a 6 to wound, of which I have 3, they are now AP -1.
Oh, so my 5-up save goes down to a 6-up save.
It does, yeah.
Come on. Here we go. Ah, I failed all 3. And that one because of the Armor Bane.
Yeah.
But don't worry, Si, I've got regeneration on my skeleton, so I should be
You
able to...
say that,
Go
but
on.
I've got Burning Braziers as an upgrade on these archers, so unfortunately that denies you regeneration.
So
'cause
no
you're on
regeneration
fire.
saves.
Yeah.
That means 3 wounds taken. You've killed the chariot completely. Nice work.
Before fighting the skeleton archers, my Knights of the Realm needed to take another fear test to see if they were perturbed by the undead creatures, which they failed, meaning they'd be on a -1 to hit for the duration of the combat. So after that failed fear test, the honour of Bretonnia needs restoring, so Duke Gastile will take it upon himself to declare a challenge.
Well, intended to be the hunter, the unit's champion, will step forward to take your challenge.
So let's go on with the fighting. So
Yes.
I have initiative 5, but I get +3 bonus for the distance that I charged into combat. So Duke Gastile will very much be going first, methinks.
Beats my 2.
Now, due to his massive weapon skill of 7, I'm actually going to be hitting you on a 2+.
Oh no, Si! He's dropped his lance. 3 misses.
So due to the massive strength boost he gets from charging, I'm up to strength 7, so I'm going to be wounding you on a 2+.
Yeah. No, use the sharp end, my lord.
I have a redeeming feature here. Thankfully, he has the virtue of the joust, so I can re-roll ones to wound. That's better.
Okay, that's a bit better.
Blimey. He has an AP of 2 with a charging lance, so you're not going to get any save there.
No saves, but I will get my regeneration 6+ against this to maybe not quite burst so magnificently in front of you.
Set the end on fire.
Here it goes. And regeneration has failed. The hunter has been slain at the hands of the Duke and is dead.
Just. Right, your champion may be dead already, but I'm all about overkill, so my Pegasus is going to smash you to bits with his hoof as well.
Nice.
What's left of your bones. So he's got 2 hits.
Nice.
So strength 5 in the Royal Pegasus, so I'm winning by 2 or more as well.
Oh no, it's failed one.
The ones continue to plague me.
There's no AP on this, so I do have a 6-up save from my light armor. There we go, I've passed that save, so he's just dead twice.
Yeah. After some shockingly bad dice rolls on my part, my Knights of the Realm only managed to kill 2 skeleton archers. Unbelievable. Not even their horses could redeem it by killing any themselves. Oh, what a disappointing phase. To add insult to injury, the skeleton archers managed to inflict 2 unsaved wounds on my Knights of the Realm. That would be 2 noble knights cut down, unless I can pass any ward saves from my Blessing of the Lady.
You got one save there.
One's still alive, but a Knight of Bretonnia slain by skeleton archers in combat. Finally was the stomp attacks from the Royal Pegasus, and he managed to inflict an additional wound on the Master of Arrows, stomping what was left of his bones into the dirt. Right, it's the end of the combat, Nick. Let's work out the combat results.
You're right, let's do it. So you've scored 3 miniatures dead, so you're going to score 3 points for that. You've also got overkill on the champion because you did more wounds than he has.
Overkill is my middle name, Nick. You know this.
So that's up to 5. You've also got a banner in the unit of knights, so that's going to be another one there as well.
Also, crucially, the War Banner, a magical banner that gives me +1 on my combat results as well.
That's not good for me, so that's another one there. You're on 7. You're also a close order unit, Si, and that's going to give you another one, so your total is 8. Let's have a look at the Tomb King side now. I've managed to take down one of your glorious knights, Huzzah!
I'm still in shock.
For 1. And also I'm an infantry unit, and I've got 5 models in the 2nd rank, so that will be +1 rank bonus for them.
You would do normally, but my Knights of the Realm have the first charge ability, which means the first charge of the game, when they smash into you, you count as being disrupted, and therefore you won't get that bonus.
Okay, fair enough. That might make a difference here. I am also a close order unit, same as you, so it's going to be 2 there. So the combat ends 8-2 to the Bretonnians. Now, that would normally mean a unit would take a leadership test at a -6 penalty, as that's the difference. But we are undead, so we don't run ever, but we are unstable. And therefore, I'm going to take the difference of 6, and I lose 6 miniatures from the unit. The end of that, my skeleton unit will give ground, moving back 2 inches to about here. What are you going to do? You're going to follow after them?
I am going to follow after them because actually it should conveniently take me out of your line of sight, which is the main reason I was charging. I was kind of hoping to destroy the unit in the process, but apparently not.
It's the end of round 1, and we're yet to score any victory points, so it's still 0-0. Somehow the skeleton archers have blunted the charge of both the Duke and the Knights, and it means the rest of my skeletal force is ready to move forward to overwhelm the Bretonnians. Tomb King's second turn, I wanted to charge my Tomb Prince and his unit into Simon's men-at-arms, so he used My Will Be Done once more to place forwards to glory to give them extra movement. It's worked, they've got +2 movement, and later he'll be declaring that charge. Also in the command sub-phase, my Hierophant Neferkar used Arise and brought back that chariot that Simon shot down earlier on. In the Conjuration sub-phase, my Hierophant once more cast Jaff's incantation of Cursed Blades, got the spell off, and Simon didn't go for the Fated Dispel this time. I would have loved to have cast Spirit Leech on the Bretonnian Duke here, but he's just outside my arc of vision. So, time to declare some charges in the movement phase, and first up, as I had declared earlier on, Tomb Prince Tolathor and his skeleton warriors declared a charge against Simon's men-at-arms, who declared that they would react by holding. So I'm going to declare a charge with my horsemen into your peasants and run them down.
Well, they are actually going to declare a flee reaction.
Cowardice!
Yeah, no. It's, well, you'd expect that from Bretonnian peasants, to be fair, but I have a plan. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine, I've got this.
The chariots are in theory in range to charge into those bowmen on the hill, but it's a very long charge, and I would give Simon an extra opportunity to open fire with his burning arrows if he stood and shot, so I decided against it this time. So on to move charges, and first up it's Prince Tolathor and his skeleton warriors who have failed the charge into those men-at-arms.
So let's see how far my Bretonnian peasants flee here.
Cowards all.
8 inches. Right, well, that's going to take them just the other side of the Bretonnian Knights. In fact, it's going to land on top of them a little bit, so what they do is they move beyond them and stop here.
Now, normally this would cause a panic test in the unit the men-at-arms are fleeing through. However, the Pegasus Knights have the Knight's Vow and therefore are not panicked when the peasants flee through them. The cowardly men-at-arms had fled before the might of the skeleton horsemen, who tried to redirect their charge into Pegasus Knights, but rolled really low on the charge roll, so it just made their full pursue move and ended here on the crossroads. In the compulsory moves section, my archers finally arrived from reserve, marching onto the battlefield here. In the remaining move section, I moved the rest of my force forward as best I could, with the chariots lining up a big charge on the bowmen and the skeleton horse archers looking to open fire on the Pegasus Knights later. Neferkar the Hierophant mounted upon that mighty Necrolith bone dragon, then flew and landed right here between the chariots and those skeleton warriors eyeing up those men-at-arms. In the shooting phase, the Necrolith bone dragon opened up with its breath of desiccation and killed 2 of Simon's men-at-arms. Now it's time to try and cast a magic missile, Unquiet Spirits, upon the hapless peasants. So that has been cast. It's a 5 plus its wizard level of 3 makes it 8. That's exactly what I needed to cast the spell.
I've kept my Fated Dispel for the turn for this very moment, just in case. So let's see if the lady blesses me.
No, not this time. I'm sorry, man. It's going to be 3d6 shots going into those men-at-arms. Here it
Because
comes.
it's the peasantry, she doesn't care about them.
Oh, sorry. It's 16 shots going in.
Oh, that's devastating.
Now, the Unquiet Spirits are only strength 2, so you need 5s to wound your men-at-arms. Let's go. Let's see what we can do. And, oh, sorry. Oh, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wounds there. And what's worse, Si, is your arm has no effects. They just ignore your armor completely.
That's
so
7 dead.
7 dead.
Wow, that's almost half the unit dead. Well, I think it's fair to say, Nick, that you killed over 25% of my unit.
Yeah,
so
I really
they
did.
very much need a panic test. Mercifully, they are within the inspiring presence range of my general, and he's leadership 9, so I should be fine, right?
Yeah, you got this. Oh, no! He's not that inspiring, Si. Can you blame him after what he's doing against
That was
the
me
archers?
reaching forward to grab them because I was like, oh, I got this, it's fine. No, apparently not. So they are fleeing.
They are.
That was cowards. Cowards can't rely on the peasants at all, can we? They're only going 4 inches, not too bad.
The skeleton horse archers opened up with their war bows into the Pegasus Knights. I got some wounds through, but Simon was lucky here with the blessing of the lady and took no damage. The charioteers opened up with their bows into Simon's peasant bowmen and killed another one of them. At the end of the shooting phase, my horse archers declared they wouldn't use their reserve move to move again, as I think I want to charge with them later on. In the combat phase, the Duke and the Knights finished off the skeleton archers. That unit was worth 85 points, so Simon scores 85 victory points for dead and fled.
Right, with your skeleton archers destroyed at the second attempt, I'm now going to try and restrain and reform with Duke Gastile and Roland's Knights of the Realm there. So need a leadership test for both of them to do so. So here we go.
Yes.
That's the Duke sorted, and the Knights of the Realm. Yeah, that's brilliant.
No problems.
So they will turn to face your lovely flank of that unit right there.
Oh dear. Well, that's the end of the turn, Si. It looks like you've got a few big charges coming in your turn, so over to you.
Onto my rally fling troops. I've got 2 units to try and rally this phase. Now, this unit is just out of the 12-inch inspiring range of my general, and as peasantry, they would not otherwise be able to use the leadership of the knights if they were nearby, but they're out of range of that too.
Yeah.
So they're on their base leadership of 6.
Oh, they don't like it at all.
And they've
so
let
they're
me
gone.
down. They've let me down. They're running. Let's see how far they go.
Oh, it's a
They're
big
running
10.
really fast.
They're gone.
I think they are, aren't they?
Yeah. Thanks for coming,
Wow.
guys.
Yeah. Mercifully, the unit of men-at-arms on my right flank did actually pass their leadership test and rallied accordingly thanks to peasantry of the Pegasus Knights in front of them. At the end of that phase, with the men-at-arms unit having fled, Nick scores 121 victory points, the equivalent of their points value for that unit having fled the battlefield. It was time to declare charges this turn. Now, Duke Gastile and the Knights of the Realm both declared charges into the flank of the Skeleton Warriors, led by the Tomb Prince. Nick's Skeleton Warriors had no other option at this point than to hold. On my right flank, my Pegasus Knights sprung the trap and declared a charge into the Skeleton Horsemen opposite them. With the Knights of the Realm and Pegasus Knights both passing their fear test to charge, all 3 of my units have smashed into the undead lines. Onto the compulsory moves, my second unit of Knights of the Realm have finally arrived. Now they've lined up opposite the Necrolith Bone Dragon, so if Nick tries to stay out of combat and use his breath weapons again, then he's going to get charged something fierce by another unit of Knights of the Realm and poked with lots of lances. Onto the remaining moves, my men-at-arms that have just rallied on my right flank turned to face the Skeleton Horse Archers. Now my newly arrived unit of Knights of the Realm moved forward a little bit, ready to potentially charge the Necrolith Bone Dragon or maybe even the flank of the Skeleton Chariots in my next turn. Right, I'm going to try and take down your chariots again with my peasant bowmen here.
Yep.
Due to the casualties at the back there, I'm down to 19 shots, but it's still going to be enough. And crucially, I'm not getting the -1 to hit for being at long range with my longbows this time. So eat arrows. Oh, they're hitting on a 4+.
Not the best of rolls.
It's not, no. We've got Guillaume who's hitting on a 3, and he's missed again. He's let me down. 5 wounds.
Oh, that's pretty good.
3, and another one, that is going to be an armor bane shot. That's -1.
So 2 saves to make on a 5, which is their armor value. I failed both of those. The armor bane is on a 6 to save. And I failed that. That's 3 wounds. Normally I'd have regeneration, Si.
Once again, they've got the burning braziers. So
Yeah, that's just that chariot, it just got raised, has been slain again.
Yeah. My Knights of the Realm passed their fear test for this round of combat. So we're good to go. Let's do the combat. So first things first, I'm going to declare a challenge with my general and your generals in the unit, just saying.
I know you're just saying, Si, but you don't get to be a Tomb Prince by taking challenges. So he's going to take the champion of the unit and put him in front of your general, and that's how you get to be a Tomb Prince.
Shocking. Shocking. Right, okay. So, first of all, the general coming in, Duke Gastile with his lance, hitting on a 2+ because of his whopping weapon skill 7. And he's dropped 2 hits.
Oh, no. Nightmare.
Rubbish.
He's not performing too well today.
No, it's fine because he's going to be strength 7 on the charge with his lance, and he has got 3 wounds. Crucially, one's an armor bane as well, just for extra overkill.
As if my armor did anything at all against your mighty lances. But I can try and regenerate these, so let's see if I can regenerate them on a 6. I've regenerated 2, son. Well, that is the champion still dead, but that's going to be a problem for later.
The Duke's Royal Pegasus failed to inflict any further damage, so it was on to the Knights of the Realm. See what they can do this time. Next up, we've got the Knights. We've got 6 attacks between them in their lance formation, so eat this in the flank of your Skeleton Warriors.
In on 3s, and oh, they've only hit 3 times. That's not the best roll.
I think the lady has fully abandoned my army today. So only 3 hits, and we're strength 5 on the charge.
Winning on 2s, yes.
So 2 to win. And I didn't roll a single one this time.
So this AP 2 on a charge to lance. I don't get a save from that, but maybe regeneration can help me here. Yeah, it does. But of course, I regenerated those wounds. They still count towards combat results later.
5 Barded Warhorses stomping all over your skeletons.
Yeah.
There we go. And they did better than the Knights.
They did, didn't they?
And wounding on a 4+. They've got 2 wounds. Have some of that.
This is AP 0, so I do get a 5 up save for my light armor and shields. No, but can I regenerate some of those wounds? One has, but one's gone through. Now, Prince Tolotha is going to strike back into your knights with his Flail of Skulls. His weapon skill 5, hits you on a 3 or more. Ooh. There we go, he's got 2 hits, Si. He's strength 7, so wounds on 2s. So it's 2 wounds at AP 1 on your knights.
So that knocks me down to a 4+ save. No pressure.
Oh, that's 2 knights down.
I've still got my ward saves, and in fact, because of the strength you're hitting them, their ward save has increased from 6+ to 5+.
Oh, nice.
Thanks to the blessings of the lady. So, here we go.
Not that blessed. To have been flailed alive.
I should have seen that one coming. There we go, that's 2 down. God, curses. Lastly, it was onto the stomp attacks of the Royal Pegasus, but I rolled a double 1 to wound, so no additional damage. After the combat results are in, 8 more skeleton warriors crumble to dust. Now, I had optimistically hoped that I'd be able to wipe out the whole unit and then follow up into the flank of the Necrolith Bone Dragon, but it wasn't to be. Still, loads more skeleton warriors dead, I'll take that. The Pegasus Knights passed their fear test and were able to dish out a horrendous amount of damage to those skeleton horsemen thanks to their furious charge ability granting them extra attacks as well. Now the skeleton horsemen in return did no damage to my Pegasus Knights, and then they promptly crumbled due to their unstable and heavy loss they took in the combat. With the skeleton horsemen dead, I scored 122 points for wiping them out, plus another 50 points for claiming the banner that they once held. Right, let's see if Callard Lebeuf's Pegasus Knights can restrain and reform. Here we go.
Leadership 8, and they have passed with ease, no worries.
Easy. At the end of round 2, the Kingdom of Bretonnia now have 257 points to the Tomb Kings of Khemri on 121. So another pretty good turn for me there. I've managed to destroy 2 of his units so far, and that unit of skeleton warriors with the Tomb Prince is looking incredibly vulnerable indeed. Now, if I can kill his general, that's great news. But Nick is in a fantastic position to smash into my lines in his turn, so still all to play for.
It was a Tomb King's 3rd turn, and in the command subphase, my Tomb Prince Tolathor used My Will Be Done to put down Strike like the Cobra upon himself and the unit, increasing their initiative. I rolled well here and got a 3, meaning the Tomb Prince is striking at initiative 6, crucially before the Duke and his knights. Neferkar the Hierophant used a Rise and once more brought back that chariot that Simon keeps trying to take down. In the Conjuration phase, the Hierophant used Jaff's incantation of Curse Blades upon himself and got the roll off. I also went to use Spirit Leech upon those knights in front of me. Let's see how this roll goes.
They're not horrible, they're
Well,
noble.
to me. It is cast on a total of 10 thanks to my wizard level.
That's the one I was trying to stop. I mean, I've got to go for my Fated Dispel, because if that happens, it's going to be a real nightmare.
No, you didn't beat it, so the spell is off. They
So
are
close.
-2 leadership and cannot use Inspiring Presence. In the Declare Charge sub-phase of the movement phase, my Necrolith Bone Dragon and the Hierophant Neferkar on top declared a charge into Simon's Knights of the Realm right in front of them. Well, they had to take a terror test at their reduced leadership, but luckily they passed and declared that they would stand and hold. The Charioteers declared a charge on those bowmen on the hill who have been shooting the chariots throughout the game. Now the chariots are too close for the bowmen to stand and shoot, so instead they decide to hold. The Skeleton Horse Archers then declared a brave charge going into those men-at-arms, who finally declared a hold reaction. In the centre of the table, the Skeleton Warriors declared a charge on those Pegasus Knights, and Simon surprised me here by declaring a counter charge, so I'd be facing a charge back at me. Time to move my charges. First of all, the Hierophant on his Necrolith Bone Dragon has made it into those knights and blunted their lance. My Skeleton Horse Archers have made the charge into the men-at-arms, and in the centre of the board, my Charioteers made the charge into the bowmen. Now the bowmen are stood on the hill behind their defensive stakes, and that means the chariots would have to take a dangerous terrain test to get into combat. Luckily for me, I passed all the rolls, no ones this time.
So I'm going to perform my counter charge. I'll move D3 plus 1 inches towards you, just the 2. Right, here we go.
My Skeleton Warriors have made the charge into the Pegasus Knights, but that means both units are charging, which will mean certain carnage. As for the rest of my moves, well, the Skeleton Archer unit that turned up from reserve earlier on moved up the road, but as for shooting, well, they've got no target as everything's in combat, so straight onto the combat phase. My Bone Dragon's going to fight into your Knights first. I need a win here. So first side, take a fear test.
Yeah, -2 leadership, of course. Oh, they passed it!
Dragon and the Hierophant are both the same initiative, so I'll fight with the Hierophant first of all. Neferkar, he's going to strike into your knights with his Kopesh, hitting you on a 4 or more. He's hit you once, he'll wound you on a 4 or more. So that is 1 wound, and he's carrying a Kopesh, which is -1 AP.
Oh, so I'm down to a 4+ save.
Oh, no, he's
failed
killed
it.
one of the knights.
All because of the AP of your Kopesh, no less. But I've got a ward save of 6. Which
No.
I have also failed. Cut down in his prime.
And now the wicked claws of the Bone Dragon lash out. Oh, he's hit you 3 times, so it's 2s to wound. All right, that's 3 wounds. AP2.
AP2, so I'm down to 5 pluses here.
1 saved.
Oh, I've got 5 up ward saves now because of the blessing of the lady, because of the strength of your nasty dragon.
Oh, no, not so blessed again.
Not done me any good, has
Two
it?
knights have been slain. The knights bravely fought back into the dragon, but did nothing. And then at initiative 1, the Necrolith Bone Dragon stomped on the knights and dispatched all of them. With the knights defeated, Neferkar the Hierophant, restrained and reformed, took the leadership test and passed it, and has turned to face towards Duke Gastil and his knights. With the knights slain, that's 195 victory points for dead and fled, and another 50 for trophies of war thanks to killing that standard bearer. My chariot's next, Si, barreling into your bowmen on the hill. Now at initiative 10, it's their impact hits, doing D3 each. Oh, it's pretty good, Si. It's going to be 7 impact hits. It's going to be 3s to wound. Oh, fantastic roll, Si. It's 6 of them.
Well, they've only got light armour, so it's not going to be too much good here. Saves a 6. 5 have been ridden down like grass.
The cavalry spears and the skeletal steeds of the chariots have mown down another 6 of the bowmen. The archers fought back, with the brave champion Guillaume Le Venaire lashing out with his sword and taking a wound off one of the chariots, redeeming himself for his earlier failures. At the end of the combat, the results were worked out, and the bowmen had lost by a staggering 7. They failed the leadership test, broke and ran. The chariots pursued and ran them down. With the bowmen wiped out, the charioteers reformed for free and turned to face the men-at-arms. With the bowmen run down, that's 191 victory points scored for dead and fled. I won't score anything for trophies of war here, as the bowmen are peasantry and their banner means nothing. The skeleton light horsemen fought into the men-at-arms, killing 2 of their number, but the men-at-arms fought back, killing 4 of my skeletons. That meant after combat results were worked out, there was enough damage there from unstable that the rest of the horse archers were destroyed, and the men-at-arms took a test to restrain and reform, turning to face the chariots. The Pegasus Knights lashed into the skeleton warriors with a furious charge, smashing many of their number with their lances. The skeletons fought back, but did nothing against the heavy armour and shields of the Pegasus Knights. At the end of the combat, once results were worked out, the skeletons had lost by 2, and therefore, due to unstable, lost 2 more of their number and gave ground. Instead of following up, the Pegasus Knights chose to stay where they are, knowing they would charge once more in their turn. So it's time for the big fight, the Duke and his knights versus Prince Tolathor and his skeleton warriors. First of all, fear tests. The Duke of course passed automatically with the Grail Vow, but the knights had to take a test and they passed. It's my turn to declare a challenge, and Prince Tolathor the Radiant, my general, the Tomb Prince, will declare a challenge to the Bretonnians. Who will face him?
Now he wants a challenge. Well, I'll take him on with Duke Gastil, of course he will.
Of course, let's do it, man.
Let's do it.
Here comes 3 attacks, hitting you on a 4 or more with his Flail of Skulls. He's hit twice. Nice. It's going to be 5s to wound, as your general's pretty tough. Here it goes. Oh, it's 2 wounds. Oh, no.
Saves a 4+ against that.
Oh, okay.
Right, 1. Right, I've got 6+ ward save still because of the blessing of the lady. Here we go.
And
Oh,
fails.
no.
So that will be multiple wounds, 2.
Ouch.
So
So,
takes 2 wounds.
yeah. Well, he let you get the first hit in, ignore the blood gushing from his great helm, that's fine. All part of the plan. He's now going to smack you back, though, with his hand weapon. Hitting on a 3+. Here we go. That is 4 hits.
I could be
Oh,
in
he's up
trouble
for
here.
it. Right, strength 5, toughness 5, so I need 4s to wound you.
Oh, that's pretty good. It's
That's
3 wounds. The bad news here is I've only got light armour to protect myself, so it's going to be a 6-up save to save my Tomb Prince.
Got 1 bad dice roll away from losing your Tomb Prince.
Oh, he's taken all 3 wounds. It might not be oversight. He has got, of course, regeneration, and it's a 5+ for a Tomb
5+.
Prince.
Right, okay.
He's got to pass one of these to stay alive. Here it goes. Oh! No! With that, Tolathor the Radiant has been slain in combat by your general.
We'll begin to see why he sent the champion forth to do the duel last time, so there we go.
I mean, you've killed my general, but you may suffer the curse of the Necropolis. Take a leadership test.
All right, leadership 9, here we go.
Oh, he just passed it. Otherwise, he may have been in trouble. The unit of skeleton warriors that had once accompanied their general were beaten so badly by combat results that due to unstable, the entire unit was wiped out. Then the Duke and his knights passed a restrain and reform test, passed their rolls, and turned to face the mighty Necrolith Bone Dragon. That combat phase has seen a huge amount of victory points scored for both sides, but crucially, Simon's going to get another 100 for killing my general.
What better way to start turn 3 than to charge the Necrolith Bone Dragon and Lich Priest with Duke Gastil of Brion? What a hero. Inspired by the heroics of their Duke, the Knights of the Realm next to him also charged their Lich Priest on Necrolith Bone Dragon I also had the Pegasus Knights charge into the Skeleton Warriors once more, and the Men-at-Arms declared a charge against the Chariots. As expected, the Skeleton Chariots chose to stand and shoot at my charging Men-at-Arms. As I'd hoped, Duke Gastile of Brionne and his Knights of the Realm both successfully made their charge into the Lich Priest and Necrolith Bone Dragon. My Pegasus Knights couldn't really fail their charge against the Skeleton Warriors because they were right in front of them. However, my Men-at-Arms did fail their charge against the Skeleton Chariots, though as a silver lining, they didn't take any damage from Nick's stand and shoot reaction. The Pegasus Knights swept into the Skeleton Warriors and inflicting a bunch of casualties. Nick was actually quite lucky here with his regeneration rolls, although of course those casualties would still count towards the combat results later. Now they swung back against the Pegasus Knights and inflicted 3 wounds against the odds.
Can I take down a Pegasus Knight?
That's what happens when you charge into a wall of spears, I suppose. Oh, you have done 1 wound.
Not quite.
And I got the blessing of the lady.
Of course.
Ah, curses, no. So 1 wound taken. The combat results turned out to be quite close in the end, with only 1 Skeleton Warrior succumbing to the unstable rule. So on to the main combat with the Necrolith Bone Dragon. Now, my Knights of the Realm passed their crucial fear test here, but the highest initiative unit was, of course, Duke Gastile himself, so he got to strike first. He's hitting on a 2+.
Nice.
Because of his whopping weapons cost 7. Okay, our strength and toughness is equal, but I'm getting a +2 bonus for charging with a lance. So each winning on 2s. Oh, there it is.
So luckily for me, no armor bane though, but it is 4 wounds. The Draconic Bones of the Dragon counts as full plate armor, so I have a 4+ save normally. Your AP is 2 with a lance. Down to just 6 to save. Here we go. Oh, I've saved 1 of them, but
nice.
3 will be going through. I'm going to try regeneration here. I have got regeneration 5+ for my Hierophant, which I've saved none of. It's 3 gone through.
The Royal Pegasus up next with 3 attacks, and he's hit you twice.
Yes.
The strength and toughness is equal, so 4+. Oh, there it is. 1 wound.
Okay, 1 wound taken.
No AP on this thing.
So it's a 4+ save with his Draconic Bones. It's saved, Si.
Drat. I'm going to have to rely on even more lances.
Yes, of course.
There we go. My weapons goes 4. Yours is only 3 because your Hierophant's
true.
not so good at fighting.
That's true.
So 3s to hit. Oh, it's good. We're strength 3 up to 5 now with the lances, so winning on 4.
That's right.
Oh, it's just the 1. However, it is a 6, so that's armor bane. That's a total of minus AP3, so no save for you.
You're absolutely right, but can I regenerate that on a 5+? Oh no, regeneration failed as well, so he's taken another wound, down to 1 from your lances.
Ooh.
Simon, can your Bretonnian warhorses finish off the
There it
mighty
is.
dragon?
They're the finest war horses, of course. Here we
course.
go. Only 1 hit. It's not great. Come on, need a 6.
No, it's not it.
Drat.
I'm going to try and fight back with the dragon, but your general's pretty tough, and these guys, the knights, are offering a lot of combat result bonuses later on, so I'm going to take down your knights.
Oh,
Here we go, right?
fair.
Don't want to hear. First of all, the Hierophant himself hitting you with his Kapesh. He gets 1 hit through, but he does need a 4+ to wound. It's going to be a wound sight, and a
nice.
Kapesh is -1 AP.
So down to 4 pluses.
He's killed one, he's
still
got one.
good. Oh, no, still got my war save. I've got
Okay.
this. Here we go.
No,
no,
the
I
lady's
don't-
not with you, one's
I
dead.
don't got this.
Now the wicked claws of the dragon itself, Si, hitting you on a 4 or more. Oh, it's 3. It's bad news for you. Strength 6, so it's 2s to wound.
Ouch.
It's going to be all 3, and this is AP 2.
Right, so down to saves of 5 or 6. And I've passed 1, so I failed 2.
Right,
Right,
it's going to be the whole unit dead.
I've got my ward saves increased to 5+ because of your strength now.
No, they've both been slain. No, which is great news for me. I might survive this.
That was worth an additional +3 combat
was.
res you saw through my cunning plan. It was down to stomp attacks now. I could finish it off with the Royal Pegasus, but I was unsuccessful. Curses. Now, the Necrolith Bone Dragon, by contrast, inflicted a further wound on Duke Gastile, leaving him on 2 wounds. It's going to be a close combat, this one. After tallying up all the combat results, it was a draw. So, neither side wins. That combat will continue next turn. With my Knights of the Realm dead, that's 190 points to Nick. Wow, that's quite a haul. Plus another 50 points for claiming this standard in combat as well.
At the end of the round, the Tomb Kings have taken the lead with 797 victory points, but the Bretonnians are close behind with 743. A pretty bleak turn there for the Tomb Kings of Khemri, as I've lost my general Tolathor the Radiant. However, the Hierophant Nephekar is still there atop his Necrolith Bone Dragon, facing down Duke Gastile. So on to the Tomb King's 4th turn, and I'm just about holding on. In the command phase, I wanted to use a Rise on Neferkar the Hierophant to heal him wounds back. Unfortunately, I can't do it in combat, so it won't work this time. In the Conjuration subphase, I used Jaff's incantation of Cursed Blades once more upon the Hierophant, and got a double 6 with irresistible force. It cannot be dispelled. In the movement phase, my Charioteers declared a charge on those men-at-arms, who bravely stood their ground. They've made the charge too, so they're going to cut them down like grass. As for remaining moves, my units of archers are moving up the road here. Hopefully later on they can charge into the side of those Pegasus Knights and help out in that combat if it lasts long enough. In the combat between the Pegasus Knights and the Skeleton Warriors, the Pegasus Knights once more came out on top, winning the combat by 1 on the combat results. That means thanks to Unstable, 1 more skeleton has been destroyed. Then it's time for the Charioteers to fight into the men-at-arms. First of all, at initiative 10, it's time for the impact hits from the chariots.
I'm fighting two-handed, so no shields for me.
Okay, impact hits first, initiative 10. Oh, it's a big 5. They hit automatically, wound you on 3s. It's going to be 4.
4 saves of 6 coming up. Here we go.
4 have been slain.
4 have been cut down.
Then the Charioteers with their cavalry spears hitting you on 3s, as they're actually better fighters than you are, but not that good. They've only hit 3 times. Oh, no.
Just astounded by the heroism of the men-at-arms this way.
Winning on 3s, and it's just the 1. Cavalry spears are AP 1 size, so no save there. That's another man-at-arms dead.
It's all right, he didn't need that face.
And now the horses are going to fight, hitting on 4s. Naturally, they do better than the riders do. Wounding on 4s as well, and it's 2 wounds from the horses. Saves of 6.
Oh no, failed all my saves. That's not great, is it? Let's be honest. Right, after that slaughter there, only my Grail Monk and my unit champion, Odo Mashud, can fight back. However, they've got 2 attacks apiece, and like I said, they're fighting two-handed, so bring it. And they've got 2 hits, and they're actually going to be strength 4 with their two-handed weapons.
Force to wound.
And it's 1 wound, AP -1.
6 up save, and I have failed that.
Yeah.
Can I regenerate it on a 6? No, that is actually 1 wound taken.
You will take that wound and like it.
At the end of the combat, the men-at-arms have fallen back in good order thanks to their blessed triptych. The chariots have decided to follow up, so they'll count us charging next turn. Here we go then, Si. It's the big one. It's the Necroth Bone Dragon against your general on Pegasus. Now,
can you just, I've got to clarify this, your Necroth Bone Dragon on 1 wound.
Yeah, it's only got 1 wound left. So your initiative is higher than mine, which means I've got to weather a storm and take a turn's worth of fighting. Your lance has been broken, so your hammer weapon comes out, of course.
Blessed Bretonnian steel, Milado.
There's no fear test to take because your Grail Vow means you're immune to psychology, so I've just got to take 1 turn of combat and hope against hope I can survive it. What you got, man? Go for it.
I've got extreme violence. Here we go. It's got
Hitting on 2 or more, so hit 4 times.
Yeah. Now strength 5 against toughness 5, so just need a 4+ to wound, and you may well die.
Come on. And okay, so it's just 2. My Draconic Bones offer me a 4+ save against that, so I need to pass both. Here we go. And I've passed 1. Now it's not over because I have regeneration 5+. There's every chance I might be able to survive this if I can just grow back the head you've cut off. Oh no, it's gone. That's the end of that. Hierophant has been slain, and once more Duke Gastile has luckily avoided the curse of the Necropolis. Now he tests to restrain and reform to face those skeleton warriors to run them down. His turn. The magic holding the Tomb King's army together has crumbled away as well, and now it's time to find out if any of my warriors or my charioteers would crumble and fall. Start over here with the archers. They are leadership 5, so
no.
not great. Well, they've actually passed the leadership test. Fantastic. What about these warriors who are facing your Pegasus over here? They failed by 3, so 3 miniatures have been slain. Now the chariots are leadership 7.
One of them's on 1 wound.
Yeah,
It'd be a shame if something would happen to them.
Roll low. Oh, I've rolled a 9. That's 2 wounds on the chariots. That will kill one of them. And
this chariot really is to decide whether it's coming or going, seriously.
That's the end of my turn, and you're about 200 or so victory points ahead at this point in time. For me to win the game, I'd have to take out the Pegasus Knights or your general, and I'm in no position to do either. So graciously, it is time to concede the game and head back to Khemri from whence I came.
Yeah, get back underground.
Well played, man. At the end of that hard-fought battle, the Kingdom of Bretonnia have taken the victory. They've got 1,078 victory points compared to the Tomb King's 797. The Hierophant's been slain, the Tomb King's army is crumbling away, Simon, and the day and crucially the Border Princes belong to the Bretonnians.
The day went to Duke Gastiel, who was an unstoppable force. He crushed everything in front of him. What a hero.
Bone Dragon was terrifying as well, man. I think it killed 2 units of knights.
He really did, yeah. I thought the luck of the lady had abandoned me early doors, but she redeemed me later on.
That's
so all
true,
was well.
that, man. Wasn't it great playing with massed ranks again after all these years?
It was, especially when you got to charge through them and splinter them aside in lance formation.
As you can tell, we had an absolute blast playing this game, guys. We hope you enjoyed watching too, and we'll see you next time on Battle Report.